Alright, gentlemen, welcome back to the Refined Lad. Today I want to discuss with you guys, we're going to be continuing that last video, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about men's emotions and vulnerability. So, it's a difficult world we live in, right? Because we have men that want to get better at expressing their emotions, and we have men that are completely shut down, and it can be due to past experiences, it could be due to the way that we were raised growing up. And so we have a real dichotomy. This is a tragic issue that we do have that not a lot of men talk about, because when we're with the boys, we can express anything, right? We can share all sorts of crap that's going on in our lives. And to be completely fair, most of the advice that guys share between each other is not actually like encouraging advice. It's more like we just roast each other and tell each other to stop being a wuss, or to get over it, or to move on. It's not really anything super positive that I can take away from it and be like, wow, that was very insightful. That absolutely changed my life. It's more just kind of like we're being dicks to each other. And at times it can be funny, but there's times that even that doesn't help us. And so a lot of guys will seek therapy. Some might not seek therapy at all. Some might find another way to get an outlet. And it's unfortunate that not a lot of men want to learn to emotionally communicate, because the majority of these issues that stem from interacting with women stem from the inability to communicate to the woman how you want to communicate through, like that medium, because women operate on a completely different wavelength. And so they communicate more by what they feel rather than what they might see or what you try to explain in a more logical manner. And it's just the way that women are wired. But rather than putting women down and treating them poorly and shutting down as a man and saying, well, I'll just open up to the guys, that also is not very productive, because we can find a way to emotionally communicate with the women. But what I want to highlight today is a few reasons why men are afraid to be vulnerable in today's society. Number one is that they're taught to show no emotion. There's certain ethnic backgrounds that encourage this. I'm sure a few could come to mind. You can definitely get your wheels turning inside your mind to figure out what kind of groups are more prone to causing this tragedy within what masculinity is, rather than what it's portrayed to be. Like this hyper-masculine is what I call it, this machismo. It's this heavier nature, this I don't show any emotions, I'm stoic all the time kind of deal. Number two is that past experiences have left us completely jaded. When I was at the camp last week, some of the guys shared they were vulnerable with me. And they shared some past experiences where they had shared something and they just got completely invalidated. People didn't care what they had to say. And this is another issue that stems back to men's mental health isn't taken seriously, because the men that do try to get help, I find, don't get it, and as a result we turn to vices, right? We turn to the drinking, we turn to the smoking. Our answers are at the bottom of a bottle. Our answers are with how many bodies we can sleep with in one night. And it's really just, it's this endless circle of mass destruction, essentially. I don't gain any fruit from it. I don't feel encouraged. I don't come away feeling happy. If I'm happy, it's because I'm still either drunk or high or all those things, right? So when I was in college, I was seeing this girl, and there was a good age gap, about 4 or 5 years. I remember one day my buddy, he was going through something, and we were hanging out with him and his girlfriend at the time. We were chilling in his house, and something happened with him, and he just started breaking down, and I was like, I'm there for you, man, and he had to walk away. and his girlfriend went to comfort him. Now, she had all sorts of her own baggage, but at least she took the effort to go see what was up. At the same time, during that process when I was trying to help my buddy, that girl that I was seeing, she said something that triggered me from my past, and I've shared a little bit with you guys. Growing up in a broken home, there is certain triggers. I've worked through a lot of them, but some things do get me worked up. Certain phrases, and that's just part of the inner work we have to do. I can't be mad at anybody for that. She said something, and I wish I remembered what it was, but I literally just lost it. I started thinking about the abuse growing up, and I had been working super hard during that time. I've been working as a CNA, doing about 16, 24-hour shifts. And they were mandatory, right? If I left, I'd get written up. It was a really crappy job, but I got a lot of character from it, so I'm not going to complain about it. I gained a lot of happiness from being around people. I got to learn, older people's testimonies and how they lived life, and that was one of my favorite interactions, no matter what I experienced at that job. But getting back to this, I don't know if I was drinking that night or, my boys on here know that when we drink, some of us get really happy, some of us can be really ecstatic and like in a whole nother world. And some of us, when we're really going through it, we just like break down, and the drinking really just releases how sad and like depressed and suicidal we feel. So I'm breaking down, and I literally just start crying for no reason. Well, not no reason, but rather than her like even just like putting a hand on my back and saying like, "Are you okay?" Like it's okay. She straight up just told me, she didn't even touch me. She looked me dead in the eyes and said, "Yeah, I can't do this right now. I'll be downstairs." And like, in that moment, man, I just completely shut down. Well, one of the many times, but that was probably like a super important time that had happened that completely caused all sorts of negative responses from that point on with future people that I dated. And so, and even opening up to family, you just get like ridiculed, and I was stunned. And believe it or not, even after that, I was just like, oh, I totally want this girl. Like, she's so good for me. But I'm just like looking back at it now, and I'm like, she was really coming from a wounded feminine, and she never healed through her stuff. I mean, I don't know where she's at now. I don't really check on her, but just that concept of being able to be vulnerable and share with somebody, hey, this is how it's going. This is what I would like things to be. And then to have somebody completely invalidate those emotions and feelings is, it's a little rough. And so, I wish her the best. But that's just one experience that I had that many men can relate to. And so, because of the nature of growing up as a man, men feel the need to have to be strong all the time, have to be stoic, and women are attracted to that security. And so we feel literally 24/7 that we can never let our guard down. The only way we can let our guard down is if we're with the boys, because we're so scared of letting somebody in only to get hurt again. So the fourth thing why men don't open up is when a man shares something with a woman in particular, doesn't matter if they're dating, doesn't matter if it's a wife, doesn't matter if it's a friend, they have this tendency, and I haven't been able to figure it out yet. I think it's really just women that haven't healed completely. But when you are arguing, they take that very thing that you shared that was so vulnerable, and they call you out on it. And I've heard of men having this done to them publicly, and as a man, there's nothing we desire more than respect. And it is so freaking disrespectful to share somebody's most private, intimate stories in front of public people thinking that's funny. So I see all this stuff with Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate is a result of all these men who have felt invalidated, and they're angry and bitter, and now they have to turn to something that gives them this outlet of expression, because now somebody embodies what they feel rather than them dealing with the issues at the time. And I do believe in some of the things that he said. But I watched a 2-hour interview with him and a psychologist, and in that interview, he told me when his dad died, that depression, if you have depression, you need to just get over it. He doesn't believe that mental illness is real. And so I just want to end things with this to the ladies watching this as well. When men want to open up to you, let them. But let them do it at their own pace, when they feel safe and comfortable. And then we can share with you. We can share with you what you want us to share with you. But we need that space just as much as we try to give that space to you. And I also recommend not opening up early into the relationship, okay? You don't want to word vomit on your partner. Let it be at your own pace. But wounded women will always use your vulnerability against you. But don't let your vulnerability be a weakness. Make it a strength. I'll see you guys in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bar. Stay frosty.